Something
have things
happened. I
ready.
can't hear anything.
I was just in the moment of talking about anything could happen, and then anything happened.
Anything can happen. Here we are.
Welcome back to another week of the Health, Tech, and Wellness Podcast. As you can see, my co-host here, Crystal, she is at another location, so we're truly using the remote setup of the Riverside software that we're using here. So again, welcome everybody back. This week, we really want to get into why shooting for perfection is good, and we all want to do that. We all want to do the best, give it 110%. But this is where that 5% really falls in, and why showing up is what really matters. Because when you can't be perfect, when things just kind of go off awry, right? And that's going to happen in your health, that's going to happen in your career, that's going to happen in your relationships. How do we deal with those moments when you can't be perfect, when you can't give it that 110%? And do you just, and we were just kind of talking before we went live here, but do you just throw the baby out with the bathwater, or do you figure out how to move on? And we understand that life isn't perfect. So how do we make the best out of it? And how do we live that every single day? So let me just start off with kind of why this topic really hit home. You've probably already listened to episode 1 and 2. And if you haven't, please go back and listen to those 2 episodes when you get done with this. They'll be linked right at the end. But you'll notice that the audio probably wasn't the best because trying to be a good host and bringing on Crystal, I said, hey, let's just come set up at my place. We'll do everything easy, which if I had 2 professional mics would have been amazing. But with the Bluetooth, things kind of bled over. We had some issues. I cleaned it up as best as possible. I think it sounds great, but I still hear it. But instead of going, hey, Crystal, let's re-record episode 1 and 2 and let's just throw these things out, I said, you know what? Guess what? That's what life is, right? It's not perfect. And I want to lead by example. I think that through season 1, I've done my best to lead by example and show everybody that, you know, these are the things that I've been through. These are the things that brought me from where I was to where I am today. And that's the whole thing that we want to just keep going. So on that note, Crystal, just let's catch up a little bit. We are pre-recording a couple, again, like everybody knows, but Christmas just passed. How was your Christmas?
It was great. It was really good. I got to spend time with a lot of my family. I actually, one of my favorite things, though, doesn't have anything to do with Christmas, but we have a park out here, Old Woman's Creek, and like 100 bald eagles were out there that you could see just looking across the marsh. So that was my favorite part of the holiday season. Like, it was unreal. It was magic. It was like, I stood there for like an hour and 20 minutes with my feet in the mud, just staring at it. Like, so yeah, that was my holiday magic.
I think I saw that on Facebook. You'd posted that. Yeah, that was one of those wildlife photos that is one in a million. I didn't think we had that many bald eagles or even eagles out in this area.
In one tree, T4.
Yeah.
1 T4 in one tree. Like, it was unbelievable. It really was something to see. Like, I've never seen that. Like, when we were kids and we were driving and a bald eagle went by, you stopped the car to look. You know? So it's very different. But yeah, it was pretty exciting. So yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. I saw those and I'm like, wow, that's again one of those 1 in a million moments. And talking about that, you know, if you were looking for that moment, if you were out as a photographer looking for that moment, you'd probably never find it. And actually that kind of goes right into this, right? So if we're spending every day of our life thinking about how are we going to make this perfect? How are we going to make our health perfect? How are we going to make our relationships perfect? How are we going to have everything? We miss those moments.
Yeah.
That's a 1 in a lifetime moment because you weren't looking for it.
Right. And it's not really about like making anything perfect. It really isn't. It's honestly about the moments being perfect, not looking for anything perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect, you know?
Oh.
Ever.
You can have a perfect moment. I love what you just said. It's about making the moment perfect, not about making it perfect or being perfect to get there.
Right.
But we do all feel that pressure, right? We all feel that to get it right before we start. You know, we sit and we plan. Before I even started the podcast back over a year ago, I'm sure before you started, and maybe you're different, but I'm sure before you started your store, you know, you probably sat there and planned, okay, where can I put this? And one thing that I think that hinders most of us, and tell me if you have a different opinion on this, but we sit and we plan and we plan and we plan and we plan the start, but we never start.
Yeah.
If you over plan the start, how do you ever start, right?
It's just one step. It's not, you don't need to plan anything, honestly. I always tell people, like, if you don't know what to do, if you take one step in the direction that you're trying to go, the next step is right behind you. It shows up. You don't have to go searching for it. If you're truly in alignment with what's meant for you, it just shows up. There's no way to over plan. And not only that, but when you over plan, you cause so much stress because nothing works out the way we plan it. We know this already.
Well,
like, no.
Yeah, you're gonna literally stress, and even if it does work out perfect, you're gonna over stress the moment, right?
And you forgot what the moment was.
You 100%, you forgot what the moment was. I'm going to tell you a great thing. I've never brought this up on the podcast, and I don't think you've ever heard this story. But when me and Cindy got married, she's one of those people that it's got to be, she's very OCD. Everything's got to be right. And she wanted the traditional veil. Have it over your face. Father lifts it up, kiss you, put it back down. So we'd rehearse without the veil. The veil was not there. Her dad walks her down. He pretends to lift the veil, kisses her on the cheek, pretends to put the veil back down. We go through the whole rehearsal. Everything goes great. So night before she goes off with the girls, I tell her, listen, tomorrow something's going to happen. Just let it happen. It's not going to be perfect, but those are going to be the memories, right? So she's coming down the aisle, look beautiful. She's in her dress. She's got her veil down. Everything looks great. Her dad's walking her down the aisle, gets her to the very end of the aisle, goes to lift the veil and just pulls it completely off of her head. Her hair falls down and she looks at me and I just mouth the words, I told you so. She giggles. Her sister jumps up, pins her veil back up, puts it back, this time not over her face, but puts it back. Everything goes off without a hitch for the rest of the day. But had I not said that, had I not prepped her, I could have had a runaway bride on my hands, right? So that's the whole thing about, if we plan for perfection, we're going to miss those little moments. Now we can sit and laugh, and it's a moment that she'll have forever. That's her sister that's passed away. She had liver failure, and that's a memory that she'll always have. But without that, it becomes this calamity that everything now falls apart. Maybe the wedding doesn't even happen, right? So that's where this topic should really hit home to everybody. And I'm sure you can think of a bunch of those moments in your life.
Many.
So if you could think of, and I don't want to put you on the spot, and we could always edit this out.
You're good at that.
But could you think of one that could probably help somebody with one of those moments in your life?
So when I got my store, it was completely unexpected. I was doing nursing 12-hour shifts, 7A to 7P. And I had went to the gentleman for the building and he told me that the space was taken. So I took the money that I had saved and I had spent all of it. I had maybe $500 to my name, something like that. And he called me and he told me that now the space was available. And so I called one of my very dear friends and I said, I don't know what to do. Like, I just spent every penny that I saved to do this. He told me it was available. Now it's available. She said, it doesn't matter. You call him and you tell him that you will have the money on Friday and we will figure it out from there. Don't tell him anything else. Just tell him Friday's the day. I said, okay. And so that's what we did. And we opened the store. I didn't even know I was going to have a store. Didn't know anything about business. Didn't even know how to run a cash register. I was a nurse.
Yeah.
Opened the door in 6 days. And here I am 13 years later. So that's a really good example.
Yeah. No, that's a great example. You have to keep going. So I know you've said this before, and I think it's the key behind, Living 95, behind all of it. Speaking of, let me not do what I didn't do the last time. Let's get us some light.
Let there be light.
Let there be light. But on that note, so we've talked about how progress works. What do you think? And I think we've talked about this, and I think we're both on the same page, but what do you think is the key to progress?
Small steps. Small, consistent steps.
Small, consistent steps. On top of that, let's piggyback repetition.
And you need something to hold you accountable. Whether you keep a journal of what you're doing, whether you have a Fitbit to watch, whether you have to be accountable. You have to have something that keeps everything measured to help you. That's what I do. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but that's what works for me.
Yeah, on the accountability piece too, and this is something that I can't stress enough. On top of what you've just mentioned with the journaling and all of that, having a community, and if it's not a community, having that friend or having somebody that knows what you're going through,
Right.
that
Yeah.
can kind of give you that little bit of push. And I'll give you an example. So, my first year with the podcast, luckily I had some really good followers who would send me comments every now and then, and it would spark me back up. But there was times when I would go, does this really matter? Are people really listening? And, I would kind of start to talk myself into, well, maybe is this something I really want to keep doing? And then luckily, I had that community built and it was building, and people would comment and say, oh, I didn't see you this week. Maybe something came up, and those were always that push to go, you know what, this does matter. Right. And that's the same thing in your health or in anything you're doing. And like you said at the beginning, you had Penny, and that was kind of her telling you, hey, you're going to do this. You've got this.
Yeah.
So having that backbone, having that community, having that person that, when it's a little rough is going to say, hey, aren't we doing this? What's going on here? Right. So, and that repetition piece really comes back into play, because think about it. How many times in your life, and you'll notice this hopefully in the podcast, if you listened in the previous year, and you'll hear it this way too, you're going to hear a lot of things over and over and over. I'm a firm believer in kind of like a self-hypnosis thing. And the more you hear something, the more it becomes real in your head and the more you'll do it. And that's why journaling and rereading the things comes back to you. But I 100% stress repetition, even if it's like just starting off the small step and just every day, because it takes, 20 times of doing something before you start to build a habit? Isn't that the number? I think it is 20 times.
It's something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing too, I want to say really quick, what in my journey, my thing that kept me going was me. The one mistake that a lot of people make is they count on a friend, a family member, or a lover to join the journey with them. And it will make you the most inconsistent. You're not ready really to add someone else to your journey until you've maximized your ability to show up. Because when they call and they say, oh, well, I'm really not feeling it. Once you're already established, you don't care if they feel it or not. You're going to just go and do your thing. But if you start off with somebody and you're depending on them to pull you by the tail to get you where you need to go, you're never going to get there. You really need to do this on a personal level and start with yourself. Build your habits by yourself. Because once you build your habits by yourself, nobody can take it away. Nobody can alter you from your mission. But if you depend on someone, it can get unpredictable.
Yeah, don't ever depend on anybody.
Yeah, no.
When I say having that person, I mean just not that you're depending on them, but every now and then that little push where, oh, I thought you were, doing this. What happened? Sometimes that'll light the little competitive fire back up in you. And like, oh, shoot, yeah, I'm not going to let them watch me fail.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I mean when I'm saying having that person. Yeah, don't ever rely on somebody else. At the end of the day, it's your personal journey. And if you bring that person in before you're even 100% with it, you're both going to fail. Together.
Absolutely. You're going to do everything together, even fail.
Even fail. So I guess on your journey along the way, and we can either look at your health side of your journey or the business side of your journey or even in your relationships. But is there times where you think that if you weren't looking at just a small part first, if you'd have dove in head first, or maybe you dove in head first and maybe it failed. I don't know if you've ever had any of those moments. I've had a lot of them. But have you ever had a time when you can say, you know what? Yeah, either you dove in head first and it just completely fell apart, or if you didn't start small, you would probably completely just lost it all.
Yeah, so like in 2019 when I really started to like look at myself as an individual instead of a mother first, like my kids had left at that time and it was just me and I had to kind of navigate who I was again and the things that I liked and what I wanted to do again. Like I did take small steps, but I took small consistent steps to keep me accountable. And it was just like one day I woke up and I'm like, I'm not going to do this. We've talked. I have seasonal depression, and I remember being in bed in the morning and just not wanting to get up. So this is how I started. I would put on a podcast that was motivating in my ears, and sometimes it would take a 5 minute one. Sometimes it would take a 10 minute one, and sometimes I'd have to lay there 30 minutes before I made the decision to get out of bed to do my thing. But what that did was like you talk about consistency. A lot of those podcasts say the same things. So like one of the main things that I took away from those was if you have excuses in the morning, make sure you solve every single excuse before you go to bed at night. If you can do that, then your morning will be seamless. So, like, after maybe a week of doing that, listening and just kind of getting my brain in the mood to like move and do what I needed to do, then I started putting my clothes right next to the bed, everything, shoes, socks, everything that I needed to put on and to walk out the door. So it was literally clothes, brush, teeth, out the door I went. And I did that consecutively, consistently, until it was like ingrained in me. That's all I wanted to do. But when the motivation wears off, that's where the competitiveness for me comes, because then I'm like, oh, well, I only did 20 reps yesterday. Let's see, I can do 22. So it was always like, for me, it was a game. I was building. But in the beginning, if I wouldn't take those small steps to set myself up and to like realize like, okay, like you got to make some little steps to get you where you need. I didn't go all in. I went little. And then I just changed little things like, okay, you're starving, right? You're going down the street, you have nothing to eat. What do? Stop at somewhere and get some garbage and you eat stuff that's not good for you, right? So then little things like that. I started putting nuts, seeds, fruit, and things like that, beef jerky in my bag. So I never had to be without. So literally it was a million little tiny things along the way that built my habits.
100%. That is probably the biggest key for me through this whole journey, is removing the obstacles and making it so stupid simple that you cannot not do it. What you were just saying, having your shoes right there, having the workout clothes right there. I read a book and I actually talked about it once before. That's kind of what they call your guitar out of the case moment, right? It's laying there. Okay, you're not going to immediately pick up a guitar and start playing amazing, rock songs. You're not going to get a piano and play Mozart's symphony. If I could pronounce that word, symphonies. But you're not going to do any of that right off the rip. But you're never going to get to that point if you don't take the guitar out of the case. Sit it next to the bed. So when you get up in the morning, it's right there. It's staring at you. You've got no excuse but to pick it up. But get your fingers in the right spot, learn a couple chords. Those are the moments that make the consistency work, is find those small things. What are the smallest things that I can do to make it so stupid simple that it's never impossible to fail. We're human. We find a way, right? We get in our own head. We get in our own way. This is going to be too hard, whatever. But if you can find those ways to make it almost next to impossible to fail, and you put the shoes next to the bed, you put the nuts in the bag, make sure you've always got that prep. So if that hunger does hit you, you've got a healthy choice to start with. Those are the things that really make it stupid simple, right? I kind of went the reverse of that with Christmas. Cindy bought me some candy from Mally's. So, those were too easy to reach for, but good thing they're gone.
All right, let's get them all today.
No. I would never do that, because then that just makes me want even more to borrow. But small, I got them gone. They're gone. But yeah, so at the end of the day, giving yourself that so stupid easy moments to there's no way to fail. You've got it set. You've prepped your morning. You know where your morning should start, and you handled all the other stuff the night before through journaling, getting it out of your head, doing those 3 things that I talked about. If you've never started journaling, 3 simple things. What was the worst thing that I thought was going to happen today that really just was scaring me? How did it really turn out? And what am I grateful for? Start there. if it works, you'll roll into it. Trust me. And eventually you're going to be writing paragraphs, full pages. It works. Start there. So on the creative side, let's just talk a little bit, bring it back to the podcast thing, because this is where I'm going to challenge you. We already said don't bring somebody in until you're there. I'm there, so I'm going to now bring you. You are going to be we're going to keep each other accountable for this, because I know that you're super excited right now. We're just starting the new season. You're coming on fresh, but we're gonna need to trust me. This is how it works, right? We're going to get 6 months into this and life is going to happen. And we didn't batch record one or two because we forgot and things are going to happen. So, doesn't have to be perfect. If we miss this week, maybe we release 2 next week, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're going to live the same thing that we're talking to our followers on and our listeners, that it doesn't have to be perfect. We're shooting for a goal of 52 episodes this year. But if we don't hit 52, meaning each week, but we hit 52 at the end of the year, fine, right? That's where we're not looking for perfect. We're looking for consistency. We're looking for just making sure that everything that we do helps the people that are listening to us every week. Any notes on that you want to give? Or did I just
I
throw
think
you
you covered
completely
it.
off?
I think you covered everything. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I think
so
we're going to do 56 episodes, just saying.
hey, you know what? That's that 110%, right?
Yeah. That's my positive Peggy coming out. Look out.
Positive Peggy. But yeah, so this is going to be a short one for this week, but we really just wanted to talk about why perfection really doesn't. It's a great goal. And we know that there's David Goggins out there. We know that there's people who can go from 0 to 1,000 and have succeeded. And if you're that person, great. Maybe this isn't your podcast, but there's a lot more that are just like me, that those small, consistent wins are all that's ever going to get you there. You're not going to win immediately. You're not going to become, you're not going to become that model or movie star that you want to be tomorrow, right? You're not going to get to your goal weight in a year. Maybe you do. But at the end of the day, what do we do to get to that one thing we want in life, whether it's our health, our relationships, our jobs, our careers? And perfection is good. Let's shoot for it. Let's give 110% when we can, when that motivation is high. But we all know motivation is fleeting. So what do you do in that 5%? What do you do when life sucks? The audio, you turn it on, you're like, oh my God, or when whatever it is, what do you do at that point? And that's what I hope you take away from this episode, is those small, consistent things. Make it easy. Give yourself those, guitar out of the case moments. Put your shoes by the front door.
Something happened. I can't hear anything.
I don't know either, but I was just in the moment of talking about anything could happen, and then anything happened.
Anything could happen. Here we are.
Okay. So on that note, we lost internet connection here at my place just a few seconds ago. And so long story short, that was just perfect timing when I'm talking about anything can happen, and you just roll with it. We're back, and we were just wrapping up the show this week. Just wanting to let everybody know that hopefully you took something away from this episode. And if you did, just leave it in the comments. I would love to just fill the comments full of just the small things that you're going to do to make sure that when you can't give that 110%, what life looks like. Other than that, anything you want to plug, anything you want to throw out there before we sign off this week?
I want to encourage people really to share their own stories, like in the comments. Share things that work for you, because some little thing that little piece of information that you've trialed and errored and got it perfect could really help someone else grow, and that's a good thing. So that's what we're all here for, is growth.
Awesome. Yes. please, share them in the comments, guys, and then like and follow, and then share these episodes with somebody that you love, because maybe these don't even resonate with you. Maybe you're just thinking, man, you know what? John and Crystal, they're talking about these small things. I go to the gym and I grind, baby, grind. That's the only way to do it. Well, maybe this doesn't work for you, but it might work for that other person. So share these episodes, whether you're listening in your car on the audio side or you're sitting in front of your computer or your phone on YouTube. And check out Crystal's Treasure Box on Facebook and Instagram. Check out living95.com if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to get into podcasting or just grow your reach with video and social media. Check out amplifiedbyliving95.com. And again, we thank you this week for sitting with us and listening along, and hopefully you're getting something out of these first 3 episodes. And as always, stay healthy, stay balanced, and keep driving forward. We'll see you next time.